Two things. First off, everyone knows that Trump had a rally in Sarasota, Florida. And frankly, it was pretty damn pathetic. But I want to play for you one clip of that with him screaming in that high-pitched voice like none of us can hear him about how he's angry that the shooter who killed Ashley Babbitt during the January 6th attack hasn't been found and prosecuted. How everyone is angry about the fact, well, yeah, just watch. Just watch.
And by the way, who shot Ashley Babbitt? Who shot Ashley Babbitt? Who? Who shot Ashley Babbitt? We all saw the hand. We saw the gun. I spoke to her mother the other day, an incredible woman. She's just devastated, like it happened yesterday. Devastated. You know, if that were on the other side, the person that did the shooting would be strung up and hung. Okay? Now they don't want to give the name. They don't want to give, but people know the name. People know where he came from. And it's a terrible thing. Right shot, boom. There was no reason for it. Who shot Ashley Babbitt? It's got to be released. And how come so many people are still in jail over January 6th when nobody paid a price for the fire and carnage and death that took place in Democrat-run cities throughout our country, including Antifa and BLM? How come? How come? And why are our Republican leaders like McConnell afraid to take up the subject and talk about it? Disgrace to our country. We need strong leaders. We need leaders like people like this. With me at the top of the ticket, not a single Republican House member lost their race for the first time in decades. Not one. We were supposed to lose 25 seats.
Okay. Regarding Ashley Babbitt, now I'm sorry the fact that she's dead. But she's dead because she listened to you, Trump. She's dead because she participated in an attack on our democracy, an attack on the U.S. Capitol. Now, it just amazes me that you're so hung up and angry about this when you said next to nothing about what happened to George Floyd. None of you Trumpers said one thing about that. Only a few of them, actually, I should say, I should rephrase that. A lot of you said a lot about George Floyd, that he deserved what he got, that he was a thug, that the cops should get a medal for it. A lot of you said that, and don't try to lie like you didn't. Ashley Babbitt's death was a tragedy, but she wasn't the innocent angel that Donald Trump and most of you Trumpers are trying to make her out to be. She participated in an attack on the U.S. Capitol where thousands of people were there to actually attack and possibly even kill members of Congress and Senate, and especially Vice President Mike Pence, because he didn't break the Constitution and overthrow the Constitution, overturn the election to Donald Trump. Hang Mike Pence! Hang Mike Pence! Hang Mike Pence! The gallows that was built outside the Capitol. You forgot about that? And this screaming about why are Trumpers in jail that participated in January 6th? Well, let me tell you why. Because they broke the freaking law. I've known this about you almost all my life, Trump. Since I first heard your damn name. The concept of law means nothing to people like you, Trump. Because frankly, if it did, you wouldn't be screaming about this. Trump, you need to stop, because your time as being the president of the United States is over, and it's never coming back. Unless one of your sons, unless they're in jail, because from what I'm hearing, this investigation into the Trump organization is going to put at least one of your kids in prison. If not Ivanka, then Beavis and Butthead. Donald Jr. and the other ass clown son of yours. But this whole thing, if it's for Trumpers, it just makes me sick to my stomach. This is what you want as president? This is the kind of man you want as the president of the United States again? As I said in the last video, what exactly did you really think was going to happen on January 6th? Objections were going to be raised, but in the end of the day, the Constitution will stand firm. Joe Biden was elected the President of the United States. What did you think January 6th was going to do? You really think you were going to just break into the Capitol and stomp it? All you did was point a big bullseye on your heads. All you've done is showed how stupid you people really are. And the people who are screaming and cheering in back of Trump in the clip I just showed you, show to me how stupid this country really can be. And how incredibly desperate Donald Trump is. He knows he's probably going to end up in jail. Or at the very least, his reputation is going to be destroyed. He's never going to be president again. Unless he decides to pull off another military coup. Which Department of Homeland Security and law enforcement agencies across the country, specifically in Washington, D.C., are up in arms over. You're threatening to attack this country again. And it's time for you to stop. It's time for you to let go. The election ended months ago, and Trump lost. And the only pieces of fraud, of voter fraud that we are seeing are from the Republican Party. Are coming from the Trump camp. Which brings me to my next point. Our friend, our libertarian friend, the guy who says he's not a Trumper but really is a Trumper, he's decided to bring God into the middle of this. Now, me being a saved Christian, I would just let it go. But he's telling me that I need to forgive and forget what Donald Trump did to us over the last 4 years. What his followers had did to us over the last 4 years. Now, I would be the first to say, if you wrong me, steal some money from me, I'll forgive and forget, whatever. But the roots go even deeper than just a simple apology. We're talking about a man who, while as president, let nearly 600,000 Americans die on his watch during a pandemic. A pandemic that we still haven't fully recovered from. We're beating the virus back, but with a new Delta variant, more and more Americans who happen to be Donald Trump supporters are not getting vaccinated. All at the behest of a man who didn't trust the science, who undercut scientific experts, all because they think that the government is trying to destroy them. All while supporting a man who nearly did destroy us. I'm supposed to forgive a man who has the support of the most vile, destructive people in this country, the racists, the bigots, people who would look at my black skin and see a threat, not because I've done something wrong, not because I committed a crime, but because I'm just a black man. This man is telling me to forgive and forget a man who has done everything so incredibly wrong in his entire life. And people like me who has done things wrong. Now, this isn't virtue slinging. This is the straight up truth. Donald Trump has cheated on every single one of his wives. And when his third wife was pregnant, he cheated on her with a porn star who he then paid off money to, hush money. That's not Christian behavior in my view. I'm supposed to forgive and forget a man who has a terrible record when it comes to race, who had only one black man in his entire cabinet as president, Dr. Ben Carlson, who I just mentioned said absolutely nothing about what happened to George Floyd. But I'm supposed to forgive and forget all that. I'm supposed to forgive and forget the fact that he gassed peaceful protesters outside of the White House who were peacefully gathered, not hurting anyone, clearing the way for his photo op in front of a church holding a Bible in his hand. I'm supposed to forgive and forget that? No. And now he wants to convict me, saying God's going to punish me. God doesn't like that. Maybe God doesn't. But I don't like the fact that my faith is being used to justify someone as evil as Donald Trump. I'm never going to forgive or forgive that. And this guy, I will never forgive him either. This is the same man who said, just because I support Joe Biden as president of the United States, I defend pedophiles. When there's absolutely no evidence that Joe Biden is a pedophile, I defend pedophiles? Only because I support him as president of the United States and because I don't support Donald Trump. I never supported Trump. Joe Biden made his faith clear. He's a Catholic. Barack Obama made his faith clear many times. He's a saved Christian, as I am. But I'm supposed to forgive and forget a man who has never shown any kind of any faith, who's never been in church his entire life if it wasn't part of a photo op. Hell, this guy didn't even show up at his own damn brother's funeral. Now, I've tried to forget and I've tried to forgive Trump. But when you have when you have a man who piles on and piles on and piles on the worst instincts of everyone out there, and we have people who support him, and just forget about, oh, Trump didn't do all this, he didn't mean all that, but want to point out George Floyd for being a thug or a criminal, regardless about how he died or why he died. I'm never going to forgive that. I can't. My soul cannot forgive a man who gassed peaceful protesters outside the White House for a photo op. My soul cannot forgive a man who let over 500,000 American lives be lost because he couldn't get off his ass, stay off Twitter, and let the scientific experts do their jobs to get us out of this pandemic. I can't forgive a man who has the support of the neo-Nazis, the Ku Klux Klan, and not to mention every racial group out there that would look at me and say, we need to kill him because he's a black man. I will never forgive that. And for him to say that I need to forgive him, it's like the Ku Klux Klan making excuses just for the lynching of African Americans in this country during Jim Crow, long before Jim Crow, is sickening. I am completely offended by that. And I hope to God he watches this video too. Because quite honestly, I'm getting sick and tired of the judgments from people like him. All because I don't support Donald Trump. All because I do support Joe Biden, who's actually doing his goddamn job as President of the United States. As opposed to a man who goes on Twitter, when he was on Twitter, who goes on Twitter and screams and huffs and hollers about how we're not kissing his ass day in and day out. If that's the kind of lesson God wants me to learn, I failed that lesson. I will never forgive that. This man, Donald Trump, is 100% evil. And we saw that evil take place on January 6th. When he pushed, yes, he did, push an attack on the U.S. Capitol, all because of some wild-eyed lie that Mike Pence could violate the Constitution and reverse the election. All because his followers, especially the asshole who keeps contacting me, keeps saying that he believes the lie. Even after I show him evidence, Here's the real truth. I showed them yesterday. You all heard the news. Rudy Giuliani had voicemails to the Arizona Secretary of State, the Arizona Board of Elections, trying to reverse the election to Donald Trump. I post that, then comes the God talk from him. It's a sickness that pervades everywhere with these people, with the Donald Trump camp. When they're blocked, they say it's only then they bring out God. When they're beaten, when they're broken. I spoke to this man for months, and yesterday was the first time I ever heard God come out of his lips. It's a fake, and I just exposed his ass. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.